Next on the news.
I can assure you FDA has been working tirelessly to address this issue.
The head of the FDA getting grilled by federal lawmakers about the shortage of baby formula in the U.S. Also, Oklahoma approves a measure that will become the nation's strictest abortion law. And the suspect in the Buffalo supermarket mass shooting formally indicted by a grand jury. Plus, a 300-year-old manuscript written by Nostradamus has finally been found. We have the exclusive. I'm Christine Persichetti. Current News starts right now. The FDA commissioner on the hot seat, taking questions from members of Congress about the baby formula shortage. Dr. Robert Califf says actions are being taken that will restock store shelves quickly, but many are criticizing why it's taken so long. He says as a father and grandfather, he understands the frustrations parents are enduring right now.
This is a basic need for babies. Something has to be done right now.
The FDA commissioner says they're working on it. Dr. Robert Califf testified before Congress Thursday about the baby formula shortage.
The pandemic, the war in Ukraine, and labor supply issues have all had an impact, and I can assure you FDA has been working tirelessly to address this issue.
He says they set up a mechanism to help companies that don't normally sell infant formula in this country to do so. He mentioned President Joe Biden's announcement to invoke the Defense Production Act to help formula makers get ingredients more quickly, and Operation Fly Formula to send planes overseas.
To pick up infant formula that meets U.S. health and safety standards so we can get it on the store shelves faster.
Meanwhile, as desperate parents struggle to feed their babies, two bills are heading to the Senate after passing in the House late Wednesday night. One plan to help low-income families use their WIC benefits for formula has strong bipartisan support. Those families purchase about half the formula in the U.S., and they're limited to certain brands.
If we can't find it in the stores, then we lose our benefit.
The second bill would pay for more FDA inspectors at formula plants. Only 12 Republican representatives voted for it, so its future in the Senate is uncertain. But criticism is growing about how long these actions took. The formula plant at the heart of a nationwide recall shut down in February.
This is serious. This is unacceptable.
The baby formula shortage is the first major crisis for Commissioner Robert Califf since returning to the FDA in February. He briefly led the agency under President Barack Obama. Meanwhile, mothers who breastfeed their children are trying to help moms who rely on formula.
I have so much of a supply that I have a deep freezer that is absolutely full of milk.
Coming up later in the newscast, the story of how some mothers desperate for formula are turning to moms who want to donate their breast milk to help. Oklahoma now has the strictest abortion law in the nation after the state's legislature gave it final approval Thursday. The bill bans abortion in the state from the moment of conception, and it subjects abortion providers or anyone who aids or abets the procedure to civil suits from private individuals. It will now move to the desk of Governor Kevin Stitt. Thanks to an emergency clause inside the bill, once the governor signs it, it will go into effect immediately. Pro-abortion leaders are praising a New York protest that shut down the Brooklyn Bridge. The estimated 10,000 marchers who crossed the bridge in support of abortion rights were part of one of the largest demonstrations happening around the country. They were demanding the Supreme Court not reverse Roe v. Wade after a document was leaked showing the justices in support of it being overturned. Planned Parenthood, which took part in the massive demonstration, hailed the march. Vice President of Communications and Marketing for the group, Jacqueline Marrero, posting this online. I am so incredibly proud to be part of a team that literally shut down the Brooklyn Bridge in a powerful display of support for reproductive justice. Abortion bans are racist, transphobic, xenophobic, and unconstitutional. We all love someone who has had an abortion. Abortion is health care. The suspect in the supermarket rampage in Buffalo was indicted by a grand jury on a first-degree murder charge. 18-year-old Peyton Gendron wore an orange jail uniform, a mask, and handcuffs in court on Thursday. Some of the victims' families were at the brief proceeding. Gendron is accused of killing 10 black people at a top supermarket in a racially motivated mass shooting last Saturday. Police say he drove nearly 200 miles to the area and live streamed the shooting. A 911 dispatcher who took a call for the Buffalo shooting has been placed on leave and could lose her job. Erie County officials say she hung up on a supermarket employee hiding during the rampage because the caller was whispering. The assistant office manager of the Tops Market told the Buffalo News that she was whispering because she was afraid the shooter would find her. The employee says the operator shouted at her, asking her why she was whispering, and then hung up. The bishop of the Diocese of Buffalo joined mourners outside the store where the shooting happened. Bishop Michael Fisher placed flowers and left a handwritten note remembering, quote, the souls of our brothers and sisters lost to the acts of violence and racism. Diocese officials say the bishop's visit was meant to offer a prayerful, peaceful way of being present with others who gathered at the site. As Bishop Fisher joins the Buffalo community in mourning the lives lost, many more could have died if it wasn't for the quick thinking of one hero working at the supermarket. Shimon Prokopez spoke to the employee and has more on the harrowing experience.
He killed so many innocent people. Every night I've been going in the house crying for hours.
Jerome Bridges can't bring himself to take off his Tops supermarket name tag.
You still wear this?
Yes, because I'm going eventually, if they do decide to open up the store, I'm going back. I'm not going to let nobody scare me out of a house that, you know, Tops over there is a family.
He was at work in aisle 14 when he heard the first gunshots and ran towards the break room in the back of the store.
You grabbed customers.
I told the customers to get inside, some customers to get inside the break room and get down on the floor. I had to tell them to be quiet and just lay down on the ground because he was getting closer and closer to the back to the point where he was actually shooting at the displays that are there, like the milk display. I mean, he was really trying to hit whatever behind that wall because he had detailed plans of where everything was at. I just wanted to make sure I kept them customers and my other 3 co-workers very safe. So even if I would have died, it would have been, you know, me dying protecting them.
You were ready to take a bullet for them.
Yes. Yes, I was.
Bridges says he was too scared to answer his phone while hiding in the break room for fear the gunman would hear him.
My son was just calling me on the phone.
Because he knew you were there.
Yes. And I couldn't answer the phone. He calls me every day now.
That was Shimon Prokopez reporting. Bridges says he remembers seeing the suspected gunman at the Tops supermarket back in March, but thought he was just a lost shopper at the time. And remember, Tops Supermarket was the only grocery store in the neighborhood that offered fresh produce to the community. So to help provide assistance to the area, Catholic Charities of Buffalo is increasing its food pantry hours until May 27th. The pantry will now be open on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 9 a.m. to noon and from 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. If you'd like to help Catholic Charities of Buffalo sustain their food bank during this time of need, just head online to ccwny.org and click Give Today. Again, that's ccwny.org. Mayor Eric Adams is not reinstating the mask mandate despite New York City being at a high COVID alert level right now. That means there is a high level of spread and substantial pressure on the healthcare system.
I don't think we need to do that at this time based on the information from our medical teams. As these new variants come, we also have to build consumer confidence, I like to say, and we also need to know that we are using the tools that we have available that we did not have before.
This decision goes against the city's health department, which is encouraging people to wear masks in all public indoor and crowded outdoor settings, regardless of vaccination status. Mayor Adams defended his stance by highlighting what he calls stable COVID deaths and hospitalization rates across the city. City bus operators are also looking for protection. The drivers are demanding better enclosures and more police patrols to protect them from unruly riders. They're asking the city to buy new buses with a front seat design that would include wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling barriers, making it impossible for a rider to reach an operator. They also called on the NYPD and the MTA police to assign officers to ride buses around the city. So far this year, 15 bus operators have been assaulted and more than 500 have faced various forms of harassment. Despite this, more people may actually start taking the bus because for the first time ever, the average cost for a gallon of gas topped $4 in all 50 states. And it could get worse. Analysts at J.P. Morgan say that number could reach at least $6 a gallon by August. Experts attribute the skyrocketing prices to Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the high cost of crude oil, which is hovering near $110 a barrel. Altogether, the national average for a gallon of gas has reached $4.60. That's up 43 cents compared to the start of May, when the average across the country was just $4.17. New Yorkers are also draining their wallets at the pump. The average in New York City now sits just under $5 a gallon. Congratulations to the graduating class at St. Francis College. Bishop Robert Brennan joined them for Mass on Wednesday and offered a few words of wisdom.
Good evening and congratulations, one and all, in the class of 2022.
Blessing the students at the Cathedral Basilica of St. James, Bishop Brennan wished them the best of luck as they prepare for a brand new chapter in their lives.
Confident that this quest for knowledge that you've begun here will be part of your life all the way through. And my prayer is that you'll encounter Christ, that you've encountered him along the way here, and that you'll encounter him over and over again. God bless you tonight and every step in the adventure of life.
Around 500 students took part in commencement exercises on Thursday afternoon. So again, congratulations to the class of 2022 at St. Francis College. And you can watch that Mass in full right here on NET. Just tune in this Saturday, May 21st at 10:30 a.m. Again, that'll be right here on NET TV. There's a lot more news headed your way. Moms helping moms. How the baby formula shortage is forcing parents to take matters into their own hands. The Saint of Healing makes his way to the U.S., where you can find the relics of Padre Pio. And who could have predicted this? Nostradamus' long-lost book of prophecies has finally been recovered. The mystery behind its disappearance.
There are now some big changes to the tablet website. You can get personalized access to the Catholic news you value. Sign up for free at thetablet.org.
While the Biden administration hopes to ease the nation's baby formula shortage, mothers across the country are looking for alternatives to help feed their children. And as Elizabeth Cohen reports, some parents are even turning to other moms for help.
Like many parents, Heather Nicholas is terrified, searching and searching near her home in Wesley Chapel, Florida, for baby formula for her 5-month-old son, Roman.
I don't have the formula that I need, so your mind doesn't stop thinking about it, especially at night. I hate to say. I've lost a lot of sleep.
Desperate, Heather turned to social media.
I had other local breastfeeding mothers who came to me and they were like, listen, there's these groups.
And in one of those groups, someone not too far away saw her plea.
I have so much of a supply that I have a deep freezer that is absolutely full of milk.
Callie Ayers, mom to 5-month-old Elizabeth, has pumped so much extra milk that she wants to give it away to other moms.
Putting myself into the shoes of those mothers is really what motivated me. I can't imagine how scary that would be.
So last week, Heather and Callie decided to meet in the parking lot of a nearby grocery store.
Nice to meet you. I brought you a lot. This is full. I think I could tell that she was very stressed out, trying to figure out how to feed her baby, so I could just see like the stress lift off of her.
I'm gonna try not to cry right now.
You can cry.
I'm super emotional.
Oh, can I give you a hug?
Yes, you
okay.
I was in your shoes when my baby was first born.
Heather and Callie aren't the only ones doing this. Facebook, full of parents sharing breast milk with one another. But the American Academy of Pediatrics doesn't recommend this kind of unregulated sharing. Its spokesperson saying the quality and safety of the milk cannot be assured.
You're not going through the process of getting that breast milk screened for infectious diseases or getting screened for things like drugs. You also don't know how old that breast milk is. You don't know what the process has been to keep it refrigerated.
Heather says she feels comfortable with Callie.
She was upfront about her situation and her lifestyle, her diet, all sorts of things.
And was relieved to give Roman his first bottle of Callie's milk.
If I can't find a donor per se for milk for him, then what's my next option?
That was Elizabeth Cohen reporting. Bishops in New York are sending a message of support to pregnant mothers. And you can read all about it in this week's Tablet newspaper. The statement, titled "Toward a Pro-Life Future in the Empire State," assesses the current pro-life situation in New York, and it envisions a path forward for what's widely considered the abortion capital of the world. That vision is presented through a list of 12 aspiration statements by the bishops. The paper lists all of them for you, as well as the pregnancy centers here in New York meant to help new mothers choose life. Again, you can find all of that in this week's paper. Just head to your local church to pick up a copy. If you want to get future editions delivered right to your mailbox, just go to thetablet.org and subscribe. The Senate overwhelmingly approved a measure that will send $40 billion in aid to Ukraine. The bill was approved by the House earlier this month, and President Biden is ready to sign it. The legislation provides money for military and humanitarian aid, including funding to assist Ukrainian military and national security forces. It will also help replenish stores of U.S. equipment sent to Ukraine. Ukrainian authorities say Russian forces are stealing huge amounts of grain from areas under their control, and they're calling it food terrorism. Issa Suarez looks at the impact it could have on the world's food supply.
Before the war, most of the food produced by Ukraine was exported through ports like this. Now these key trading docks have ground to a halt, blockaded by Russia, who, according to Ukraine's defense ministry, has also pilfered an estimated 400,000 tons of grain from Ukrainian farmers in Russian-occupied territory. Footage obtained by CNN from Melitopol, Zaporizhia, shows trucks bearing the white Z symbol of the Russian military, transporting grain to Russian-held Crimea. An act that President Zelensky's administration is calling food terrorism.
This is not just a strike at Ukraine. Without our agrarian export, dozens of countries in various regions of the world have found themselves on the brink of food deficit.
As supplies run low and as prices continue to rise, there are fears the war is pushing the world to the brink of a food crisis. The president of the European Council, Charles Michel, vowed the EU, with support from the US, will help look for ways to export grain from Ukraine. Some of it is already being shipped from ports in neighboring Romania, but still only a fraction of Ukraine's total production. More help is needed if Europe's breadbasket is to continue to feed the world.
That was Issa Suarez reporting. The German foreign minister called Russia's actions a deliberate war of grains. Still to come, a Currents News exclusive. A 300-year-old manuscript from Nostradamus thought to have been lost is now found. And he lost his false teeth in the Gulf of Mexico. How he managed to get them back from the murky depths. Do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number, 718-517-3122. We'll be right back. St. Pio of Pietrelcina never visited the U.S. during his time on Earth, but now his relics will be on display for veneration at the nation's largest Catholic church this weekend. The 20th century Italian priest, often referred to as Padre Pio, is known as the one who intercedes with God on behalf of the sick and suffering. His relics will be available for veneration at the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception from May 21st to the 22nd. Now to a story you'll only see on Currents News. It was an artifact thought to be lost to time. The 300-year-old manuscript written by famed astrologer Michel de Nostradamus has finally been found. Currents News' Justin McClellan reports on the mystery of the ancient tome's disappearance and its recovery.
In Rome, 100 years might not feel like a lot, But for the Barnabite fathers, that's how long they spent searching for this book, a nearly 500-year-old manuscript of the French astrologer Michel de Nostradame, better known as Nostradamus, which disappeared from these archives in 1895.
From the rise of Hitler to the attacks on the World Trade Center, this book could be said to have predicted it all. Originally written in 1555, the prophecies of a man named Nostradamus catapulted the medieval French astrologer to worldwide fame. And this manuscript, dating back to as early as the mid-16th century, is one of its earliest versions still in existence.
To understand from a textual, paleological, and even psychological point of view, Nostradamus' manuscripts could really be important for scholars specialized in that time period.
The manuscript was likely brought to this library by a priest who came to study in Rome hundreds of years ago. As a result, its home became the archives of the Barnabite Fathers. That is, until it disappeared from the library's archives in 1895. It was lost until only weeks ago, when Italian authorities returned it to its home after finding it listed on the website of a German auction house. The listed starting price, nearly $13,000. They said the book could have easily sold for more than $50,000. It's a patrimony. How it got there remains a mystery, but the Barnabite Historical Center isn't planning on letting it out of its collection anytime soon. Who knows where it would have ended up, because it doesn't always go to museums, but private individuals.
Well, the manuscript is being kept under close watch here at the archives of the Barnabite Fathers after surviving a journey that not even Nostradamus himself could have predicted. In Rome, Justin McClellan, Currents News.
Fascinating. And finally, call it the lost denture adventure. A Wisconsin man who lost his false teeth in the Gulf of Mexico got them back thanks to a really attentive snorkeler and an incredible stroke of luck.
They actually scared me. I was like, yeah, I said, where's the rest of this guy's teeth?
For Aaron and Blair Wellborn, this year's annual Gulf Shores vacation will forever be entwined with that of another family's who they've never met. The story begins with Randy Williams of Wisconsin, who was in the water when the wind blew off his hat.
And I went to grab my hat, and I was sideways, and a wave just come in and hit me alongside the head, and I felt them when I went in the water, and I had them in my hand for a second in the ocean, and way they went.
Williams lost hope but made the most of his vacation and returned home Friday. About the same time, Wellborn was wrapping up a snorkeling adventure just off the shoreline from his beach rental. He'd taken off his fins and snorkel and was headed to the shore.
And I'm like, well, I'm just going to put my goggles on and look down in the water as I walk up, and maybe just by chance I'll find something. And I stuck my head in the water, and as soon as I stuck my head in the water, they were literally sitting on the bottom just smiling at me.
A closer inspection revealed a name imprinted on the dentures. Now the challenge was on. Find the right Randy Williams and reunite him with his lost uppers. Wellborn went to Facebook and posted pictures of the teeth, and it quickly got attention. Someone on the thread searched out Randy Williams in Gulf Shores, and a hit came back. Contact was made, and within 20 minutes, the right Randy was found.
At first, I thought it was somebody playing a joke on me, and I said, yeah. As I didn't know, and because my cousin found them, and I'm like, "Are you serious?" And yeah, and then she gave me his phone number.
We have laughed a lot.
We've named this story, it's a story to really sink your teeth into.
That's too funny. Williams says the lucky find saved him $2,000 in replacement dentures. Wow. And that is Currents News. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us, because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.